Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 22nd of February. I'm Derek Clark. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barrie. How are we doing, Joshua?
Yeah, well, good. Thanks, Derek. Good to be back. It was, I think, Sunday. Me and Johnny were speaking over the result, which feels like a while ago. But looking forward to Thursday now and a big night at Ibrox.
Yeah, it certainly is. Before we look at that, look ahead to that game, just a bit of housekeeping. If you're watching us on YouTube, folks, as ever, if you've not hit that subscribe button already, then if you do so, it means that you'll never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the website itself, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to support top quality journalism covering the club you love. Just £2.99 a month. And there's a piece on the website this morning, if you've had a look, folks, from Joshua with regards to Amad Diallo. He's come in for some criticism following his display on Sunday against Dundee United. Unfairly or fairly, it depends how you look at it. Joshua, you've wrote a piece on the website this morning. Can you give us a little insight into what sort of side of the fence you sit on?
It's an interesting discussion, and you know, my kind of viewpoint on it is, you know, on Sunday there was a couple of moments that get the attention in terms of Diallo backing out that 50-50, the perhaps naivety to allow Tavernier's pass to go across his body instead of trying to keep possession and keep the move going, and you know, given the backdrop of Tannadice, I think it really fitted the narrative of, look, this is a young player that's not played enough men's football and he's been chucked in at the deep end, etc., etc. And obviously he misses that chance where he should square it to Sakala. He hits the post, but watching it back, you can see that he should square it to Sakala. So I think it's an interesting discussion because he attracted a lot of criticism. And my point basically was that, look, he's played 2 games. It's not worked out as it should have so far in terms of the game time. If Man United knew that, had kind of, I said, the foresight of February, I don't think they'd have sent him up the road. But I don't think it's as simple, personally. Yeah, I don't think you can yet judge and say it's as simple as he's not interested, he's checked out, he doesn't want to be here. He didn't come onto the pitch and not try to get involved at all. He had that late cross for Sakala, which Sakala and Seagrass clashed as well. And you know, yeah. I know he made the wrong decision. It went through 1-on-1. But hypothetically, if that does go into the back of the net, just think how different the narrative is. And I understand that's football and that's how, you know, that's hypothetical. You can apply that to everything. So it's maybe not the best argument. But all I'm, I think, trying to say is I think you need to give him a couple more games. The club have brought him up for a reason. There's a reason has been worth so much money, because how good he is technically, and he can still make an impact between now and the end of the season. So understand the criticism. I think there's probably some justification in the fact that he's been thrown in at the deep end and he hasn't played much first team football before. Equally, I was up at Dingwall when he made his debut in a physical game when he was doubled up on, kicked a lot, and I thought he was brilliant. So I think it's just retaining a little bit of perspective and maybe giving him a little bit more of an opportunity. Countering that, Derek, I also understand that, you know, unlike John Lundstrom, he doesn't have the whole season to kind of get it right. And that's the difficulty with trying to improve your starting 11 in January.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I can see him playing a part on Sunday against Motherwell. It's just one of those. If he cuts the ball back to Fashion Sakala at Tannadice, Rangers go back down the road with 3 points, and everyone's singing his praises. Jury is out, I think, at the moment. He's still a young kid. He is obviously talented, but the Rangers support, as we know, are very demanding, and I think some supporters rightly not happy with his performance on Sunday. But I think some of the criticism has been a bit over the top, to be honest. Another player I wanted to touch on, Joshua, is Fashion Sakala, because you wrote a piece again on the website yesterday as all-important data was coming out from the game at Tannadice. You feel he should have been brought on at half-time?
Yeah, I do, because there's a couple of strands, and again, there's an element of looking at this in hindsight, but Scott Arfield had three moments after the break where Dundee United pushed up and because of that, there was space left kind of in their left back position. Their left wing back was up high. Ross Graham, who scored their goal, isn't the quickest, and he was quick enough to catch up Arfield actually. And there was 3 occasions where Arfield, I think twice he got on to flick balls from Morelos. One was a switch of play, and one was John Lundstrom driving up the pitch, and Arfield kind of didn't give him the angle. And the argument being that while the game was still a little bit end to end, I think Fashion Sakala could have made a big impact. When he came on, United really sat back, and I think that was in response to the threat of his pace in behind. And therefore, you could argue, well, those chances Arfield gets wouldn't have happened because United would have sat back, but then equally that would have given Rangers more control in their final thirds. And I think that bringing them on at 58 minutes when they were still 1-0 down, Rangers should have won the game, but I think they should have kind of been exerting that pressure a little bit earlier in the game. If you look at what Sakala did when he came on, he was just so direct, going around their left back. And then when you had Ahmad and Sakala on, I think it was their presence kind of in the box that just overwhelmed Dundee United and allowed Aribo to be free and get that shot off, because when you're playing against the defence that deep with 5 defenders, it's hard to find that room. So for me, yes, I thought Sakala made a really good impact. I can understand why the manager chose to stick with roughly the same starting 11 as Dortmund, because that's worked really well in recent games. The inclusion of Arfield allows Rangers to press high off the pitch, up the pitch, and allows them to play vertically to the left. Kent was man marked by Liam Smith for a lot of the game, so I think that kind of didn't allow that plan to work as it may have. So yeah, again, one of these things in hindsight, but if you look at the underlying numbers as well, they shot up after Sakala came on. Sakala had the highest on-ball value, which, as we've spoke about a few times, just kind of measures everything on the pitch. And I think it was probably a game that he needed to be a part of sooner.
Yeah, it sort of made a difference. But when he came on, Rangers looked more threatening going forward. That's for sure. A couple of questions coming in here, Joshua. Looking ahead, of course, to Thursday evening. Magic Man gets in touch. Magic Man 147. Got to play Ramsey on Thursday, even if he's 80% fit. Need to get him up to speed for the league. Otherwise, what's the point? I know you and Johnny were discussing Aaron Ramsey after the game on Sunday evening. Rangers need to get this boy fit, don't they, Joshua, because time is running out.
Yeah, and it's similar to the Diallo conversation because there's only 11 games now left in the league. Is that right?
Yeah.
It's not many. So again, it's this knife edge of narrative where if Ramsey comes in and plays a few games, it's excellent. Ahmad signing up at that day at Dingwall when he gave Rangers an option on the right wing looked excellent. But football's narrative changes so quickly, and it's obviously at the mercy of results. So Ramsey needs to play. I think Ramsey's definitely come here to play football. He's not come to Ibrox to kind of tide himself over for the next few months. I know he wants to get fit as well for his country, but I was down at Annan and he looked up for it. I know there's only so much you can tell from the side of the pitch, but I think even him playing in that game, and we spoke to him after his debut, which was I think the 5-0 Hearts game. But he needs to play, and he needs to play soon, because if you don't play on Thursday, I guess Sunday against Motherwell, but there's not that many games left, and I think it will probably still take a couple of 90 minutes for maybe Ramsey to show his best form. But he's been brought up here to win the league. Let's be honest. That's why we signed, and he needs to be in the team really soon. So fingers crossed that Thursday is when that happens. Do you maybe drop Arfield out? He looked a little bit tired to me, given a lot. Aribo was good away in Germany, so and obviously scored at the weekend. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the manager chooses to do. But I completely agree that he needs to start Thursday or Sunday at the very latest, but Thursday would be my preference.
Yeah, we'll find out the true extent of that knock. Hopefully he's okay, but we'll find the true extent of it when we speak to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst tomorrow in his pre-match press conference. A lot of questions coming in here, Joshua, with regards to Kemar Roofe. He wasn't brought on Sunday. Me and Chris Jack sort of touched on this yesterday. He hasn't been in the best of forms this season. There's no doubt about it. He has been plagued as well with niggling injuries, of course. I thought Sunday was it could have been an ideal opportunity for him to stick one of those chances, that one of the 28 opportunities away. Could you see him possibly coming back in? Not Thursday, of course. Alfredo Morelos will play, but can you see him possibly having a role to play in the title running? Was it a bit strange for you not to see him on Sunday?
Yeah, it was, because I see Fraser McKenzie, they're saying thoughts on Roofe playing right wing, and although I think when Van Bronckhorst initially came in, that was out the question. I think if you look at the role that Arfield's played the last few games, with his back to goal, drifting inside the pitch, and then arriving in the box, I think Roofe could do that, and it's not dissimilar to one of the 210s position that he played last season under Gerrard. I think in terms of someone in and around the box, Kemar Roofe has the best numbers at Rangers, in terms of almost creating chances out of nothing. And I must admit, I was really surprised as well, because I thought Sakala was getting quite a lot of joy down the right and being quite direct. And would you have put it past Kemar Roofe kind of sneaking in at one of those moments, as you say? Probably not. So I think, as we were discussing there with Diallo, that the shapes kind of changed over the last few games. Instead of playing two wingers, Van Bronckhorst played one, and I imagine he'll kind of switch between the two systems, as he has done so far throughout his tenure at Ibrox. But Roofe doesn't seem to be fancied so far. I think it would be fair to say. He started two matches, maybe three at top, and he's at, I think, 28. He won't want to be sitting on the bench. Equally, he's not been probably available enough this season. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, because again, when Roofe was at his best at Ibrox, he was such a valuable part of that starting 11, and really helped, I think, address the need for two finishers in the front line. The difficulty for Rangers is they still don't have that settled front three, our first choice front three, and maybe the move towards this system, which has included Arfield in the front three, is with a view of getting Ramsey and Aribo in the front three with the Jack and Lundstram axis. You've also got to remember as well, is Glenn Kamara going to sit on the bench for the rest of the season? Surely not. I know he hasn't had the best season of his life, but let's not pretend that he's not an excellent player. So a couple of interesting dilemmas for the manager to sort in the next few games.
Yeah, Calvin Bassey, of course, moved to left back on Sunday. Borna Barisic dropping to the bench. Phil Hollander came in. Thought he'd done okay, a bit rusty, you could say. It looks like a guy coming back from injury, that's for sure. I know he was criticised for the Dundee United goal. Scott McCready says, do we go back to Bassey at centre-back against Dortmund? I think, Hollander's not in the European squad, so unless Leon Balogun comes back fit, even if he does, Joshua, I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst will elect to go with Connor Goldson and Calvin Bassey, who I must say had his best game in the Rangers jersey over there last Thursday.
He was, fantastic, Derek, and we've spoken a lot about this, Bassett centre-back. I thought he spoke interestingly to Sky about the position, playing at centre-back, and the kind of need for communication, and just kind of the differences between playing there and at left-back. But his recovery pace was really, really useful. And I know Balogun's quick, maybe not quite as quick as Bassey, I'd imagine. Obviously, we don't really know. It's hard to prove that. But I thought Bassey's his recovery pace was really quick, and he also, I don't know if you remember that little chipped ball he played over to Borna Barisic, over the heads of a Dortmund player as Rangers were kind of breaking their press. He played with confidence with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, it was confidence personified. It was in the first half. I noted it in the player ratings. It was it just shows you the belief that was urging through every pore in his body to try that at that point in the game. It was it was a delight to see.
And he said that after the game, the press conference the next day. You were there, I were there. One of us was there. I can't remember. It seems ages ago. But I remember him then speaking about the manager giving him the confidence to go out and play, to go and assert themselves. And I think you could see that in his performance. Borna Barisic, I think, did okay as well. It was his best game in a wee while, probably, in a Rangers jersey. And I think that is probably the back four that Rangers will revert to, with Jack and Lundstram in there. And I think Ramsey will come in with Aribo and Kent and Morelos. It's going to be a fascinating game. Obviously, I will have it build up tomorrow and Thursday. Dortmund took out their defeat on Thursday on the weekend when they beat Borussia Mönchengladbach. Which was disconcerting to see. But nonetheless, it kind of promises to be another shootout, in my opinion, Derek, because the Ibrox will be, absolutely ecstatic and they'll want Rangers to attack. I think you've seen when Rangers, the only periods of the game where they didn't sit back, but they were forced back, you've seen Dortmund's quality, and those two strikes are kind of unsavable. Or 2 moments of real quality that are going to occur if Dortmund are allowed to have sustained pressure. So therefore, Rangers need to attack, and they'll score. I don't see it being a 0-0 or 1-0, and I think the away goals rule helps that. And that's probably, I guess, maybe the good side of the away goals from a product's point of view, that this turns into another shootout. Although I'm sure if you offered Van Bronckhorst to 4 away goals, he would take it happily.
Every Rangers supporter would bite your hand off for away goals right now, I tell you that. Also, with the fact that I seen yesterday, Joshua, that Erling Haaland completed his first training session for Dortmund yesterday. Came through unscathed. It looks likely that he's going to feature at some point on Thursday night. That changes the complexion of the game somewhat, because he on his own can win football matches. So it's something that Rangers will have to be mindful of. He could be a game changer, couldn't he?
Yeah, he really could. I think it's just a completely different prospect with Haaland, and a completely different prospect with Haaland when he's attacking space. I imagine that he'll be in the squad regardless if he's fit enough to train. I think that because Dortmund will want to win this competition. As we've discussed before, it seems unlikely to win the Bundesliga. So they're favourites for this competition. Equally, if Rangers can go beat the favourites and they get through this tie, then they need to be confident when they go and face the kind of next opponent, if that is to happen. But we're getting ahead of ourselves there. If Haaland plays, I think that will send a little bit of the fear around Ibrox before kickoff, because as I say, that pace he has is so valuable. But it's not as if Rangers really I mean Goldson's pretty quick, and Bassi, as we've just discussed, has excellent recovery pace. It's all about how Rangers play him. Maybe there will be a little bit more of an effort to not leave too much space and hit on the break. But I think if you look back to the first leg, can you really think of, apart from the one where Marco Reus, the ball flashes across the face of goal and Marco Reus fails to connect with it, I can't think of another time that Dortmund really cut Rangers open after they looked to press from the front. You constantly had, we wrote about it on the site, constantly had Ryan Kent leaving his Manuel Akanji at right back and jumping onto Mats Hummels to try and press. And Dortmund, again, if you look at the past maps, Dortmund were really condensed and didn't really stretch the pitch as much as Rangers did. So Rangers need to just basically mirror that performance, but that's a really hard thing to do when the performance you're trying to emulate is one of the best in the club's recent history. So as I say, really looking forward to it. But if Haaland plays, I think that will just tip the scales ever more slightly in Dortmund's favour.
Yeah, but as much as Haaland's a big player for them, they'll be having nightmares about facing Ryan Kent again after ripping them apart on Thursday. So you've got to factor that in as well. I think he has a big role to play this coming Thursday as well. It's certainly a match to look forward to. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone, as ever, for interacting with the show. It is very much appreciated. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember, hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a video when we go live. And if you want to take advantage of the website itself, just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Just £2.99 a month to support top quality journalism covering the club you love. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.